All right. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Happy Tuesday. I'm just making sure I'm connected everywhere. Look, if you've been asking ChatGPT to give you digital product ideas, I want you to stop. Okay. Because making the product is the easy part, but making something somebody actually has a reason to pay for, now that's different. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting stuck with AI right now. Okay. So we're learning ChatGPT, we're learning how to make AI images, we're creating AI twins, we're saving prompts, and we're paying for all these tools. Okay. And then comes the question that nobody actually wants to admit. Okay. How is this going to actually make me money? Right. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. One way that you can start turning what you already know into something that's going to actually sell digital products. All right. But we're not starting in Canva. We're not asking ChatGPT to write us a random ebook. Okay. And I'm not giving you a list of 50 products to go and take and make. All right. So what we're going to start with is something much more important. All right. What would somebody actually pay for? Now, before we get into this, I want you all to talk to me, okay? I want you to talk to me and I want you to put a yes in the comments if you've ever created a digital product, all right? Um, Now, I know myself, I've created several digital products, okay? A lot of them, some of them have never even sold to anyone, but that is because, no one just wants something that's going to look cute. Right? So maybe you have made something and you thought it was cute, but nobody bought it. I want you to go ahead and put me in the chat because that's a conversation that we really need to have. And look, and don't be embarrassed about it. I'm not embarrassed about it at not one bit, all right? Because one thing that I want you to remember throughout this entire live is that creating something and creating demand for something are two different skills, and AI can actually make your creation a lot faster. So it cannot automatically start with that demand, right? Things have to be tested, things have to be tried. And that's what I want you to remember. So everything that you may have done before in the past, it may have not worked, and that's okay because you can always start over. I want you to know that you can always start something over. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see people deciding is what they're going to make before they decide what problem they're going to solve. All right. I want to make an ebook. And the question is why? Why do you want to make an ebook? What is it going to be about? Right? Or someone tells you, I heard templates sell, or I saw somebody selling prompts. I saw somebody make $10,000 selling a guide. And now everyone's running to ChatGPT and they're saying, give me 50 profitable digital product ideas. And I want you to know that that's actually backwards. You have to start with the person, all right? Then the problem, then the result, and then the product, okay? So because nobody woke up this morning saying, Lord, please send me a PDF, they woke up with a real problem, right? So tell me in the comments, what do people already ask you for help with? What are they already knocking down your door for, saying, help, I need help with this? And don't tell me nothing because everybody has something that they're good at. I want you to really think about it, right? What do your coworkers ask you if you have a 9 to 5? What do your friends call you on the phone asking you about, right? Um, what are you constantly explaining to someone? Right? What have you figured out that somebody else is still struggling with? I want you to really think about that and drop that down in the comments for me. All right? Because this is where I actually want you to pay attention. Because some of you are going to read somebody else's comment and you're going to immediately think, oh, she could make something out of that. But when it comes to your own knowledge, you can't see it. Now, isn't that funny? When it comes to something that we have really created a skill at, when it comes to something that we're really knowledgeable about, we don't even see it. And then you say, but Felicia, I'm not an expert. And I already know that's what someone is thinking. I don't have a degree in that. Or you say, I'm not creative. There are people who know way more than me. Okay, and but let me ask you something. Do you know something that that person behind you doesn't know yet? Have you solved a problem they're still trying to solve? Have you developed a process that makes something easier? That's where you're going to start. You look, you don't have to pretend that you're the world's leading authority on something. All right. You can teach what you actually know. And I want you to write this down. All right. You don't have to know everything to teach someone something because that's important. A lot of us won't start it because we feel like we don't know everything about it. And that's what's keeping you stuck. Because comparison will have you sitting on knowledge that could help somebody because you're comparing yourself to somebody who's 10 chapters ahead of you. And they say comparison is the biggest thief. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment, right? Your knowledge can become a guide. Your process can become a checklist, and your experience can become a workshop. Your framework can become an ebook. Something that you teach repeatedly can become a mini course. A collection of resources could become a bundle. But notice something, we still haven't opened Canva because we're building the idea before we build the product. So let's actually go ahead and do something right now, okay? I want you to finish this sentence in the comments. People always ask me how to. And then I want you to fill in that blank, okay? Now, don't try to make it sound like a business. I want you to just answer the question. Just fill in that blank, okay? Hey, coach, how to live a more purpose driven life? Yes, definitely. I did not even see your comment. Definitely. How to live a more purpose driven life. I love that. I love that. Now, what?
Mom, did he say the morning you drop me off, or did he say
Who?
that?
I don't know. You had the conversation with him. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. You had the conversation.
But they don't open till 10.
Oh, well then no, because I'm be leaving as soon as I get off this live.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Around like 4 o'clock. Or right now, 4 o'clock. Like,
I'm probably gonna be picking Aiden up. So when I get Aiden for practice,
but they close at 7.
Aiden goes to practice at 4:15.
Oh, okay.
So just be ready. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. So look, some of y'all might be looking at your first digital product idea right there, right? So we had someone say how to live a more purpose-driven life. Okay. Now I want to bring AI into this as well because y'all know that's what I do. Because this is where AI is going to become more powerful, right? And not because AI is magically creating the business for you, but because AI can help you take what's already in your head and turn it into something structured. And there's a huge difference, all right, between those two things. Now, one thing that I don't want you to do, all right, is I don't want you to open ChatGPT and say, write me an ebook about making more money online. That's not what I want you to do. All right. Um, and then you're going to copy that and you're going to throw that into Canva. Please don't do that. I don't want you putting gold letters on the cover and then thinking that you're an entrepreneur. No, ma'am. All right. No, ma'am. Don't do that. Because now I have a question, right? Why am I going to pay you for something I could have asked ChatGPT to do myself? I'm just joining. Will the video be saved on YouTube too? Yes, it will. Greatest goals is that it's going to be saved. So after I get off the lab, it will be posted to my page. All right. So look, the real objection here is, and I want this to stay right there with you because it's going to be one of the most logical questions that you should ask. All right. Why would somebody buy a digital product when ChatGPT exists? Right. And that's a good question. A lot of people are not asking that question. But there are some people who do ask that question, right? And the answer is simple. Okay. Because they're not paying simply because information exists. They're paying for what you've organized, simplified, and applied it, right? You've experienced it and you turned it into a process and you added your own examples and you added your own perspective. And it helped them get from one point to another, right? Because we know that information is everywhere. But transformation does require direction. So this is where your true value is going to come in, right? Because AI can help you package your knowledge, but AI shouldn't replace the knowledge that you're packaging. All right. So instead, I might tell ChatGPT this, and this is the prompt that I want you to use. All right. Ask me questions one at a time about what people ask me for help with, problems I've personally solved, skills I use regularly, processes I've developed, and results I know how to help someone achieve. Okay. After you understand my experience, identify 3 problems I could potentially build a digital product around. All right. See the difference? If if you see the difference, is major. I'm not asking AI to tell me who I am. I'm giving AI something to actually work with. I want you to put prompt in the comments if you want to try that later. Because if so, I'll give you that same prompt that we just went over. You're welcome, Greatest Goals. You're so welcome. All right. So if y'all want that prompt, then you got to let me know in the comments and I'll drop it for you. Not before, because I don't want to give that prompt out if you're not going to use it. All right. And if you're already thinking of something that you can turn into a product, I want you to go ahead and put a fire emoji down in the comments for me. Because now your wheel should be turning, right? Now you're thinking of things that you can do. And I know that another problem is that people are like, but these AI tools, they cost money, right? So let's deal with that. Because I know someone is thinking it. Because we're like, ChatGPT costs money, Canva costs money, right? The image generators cost money, the video generators, they cost money. And listen, you don't need every AI tool that you see somebody demonstrating on TikTok or on Facebook or on IG. All right. I want you to hear me on that. If you're spending $20 here, $30 there, $50 over here, and $100 somewhere else, and you haven't figured out what you're selling yet, you're building expenses before you even build your business. All right? Don't buy another toolbox before you know what you're building. Do not buy another toolbox before you know what you're building. I want you to start with the problem, choose the product, and then determine what tools you actually need. And I want you all to be honest with me, okay? How many of y'all have signed up for an AI tool because you saw somebody out here making something cool with it and then you barely used it? I want you to go ahead and drop your favorite emoji down in the comments, or go ahead, better yet, put guilty in the comments for me so that I really know who is out there who's guilty of doing that same thing. Because I know that I'm not by myself. I know I can't be by myself and done that. Okay? Now, what if you're thinking to yourself, I only have my phone? Now, I know that this is a problem for a lot of people. They've been asking that question, can I start with my phone if I only have my phone? Because for a lot of beginners with digital product workflows, yes. Now, do I think that there are easy things that are easier on a computer? Absolutely. Right? Some of the apps make it a little bit more difficult for your phone, but you can absolutely do it on your phone. But I don't want you waiting 6 months because your setup isn't perfect. We're not doing that. You don't need a $3,000 computer. You don't need a professional camera. You don't need a fancy office. Okay? As you can see, my office is not that fancy. All right? I'm in a little room with a window and a door. Okay? You don't need that. And you definitely don't need to pay for 12 AI subscriptions to figure out what problem that you solve. You start with what you have and you upgrade when your business that you're building requires you to do that. Don't let equipment become a prettier version of procrastination. And I'm going to say that again, just in case you didn't hear me. Don't let equipment become a prettier version of procrastination. Okay? Now, you've found something that you know, all right? And now you've identified that problem and you have a possible product, all right? Are we ready to spend 3 weeks making it? No. Nobody wants to, first of all, nobody wants to spend 3 weeks making it, okay? Now, first, I want evidence that people are actually going to care about this problem, right? And I'll look at the comments, right? Your DMs, questions that people ask you, Facebook groups, communities, search suggestions, comments underneath content about your topic. And I want you to actually talk to people. And if you keep seeing the same question over and over, that's your information. If people keep complaining about the same problem, that's your information. If somebody is asking, how did you do that? That's your information. Okay. So let's say that 10 people keep asking you the same question. All right. Do you keep answering everybody individually forever? Or do you start thinking, maybe I need to create something that answers this question? And I want you to put A or B in the comments, okay? And one thing that I know that y'all better do is y'all better put B down in that comment section, okay? Because if you keep answering people individually, you are not doing a service to your audience. You are not doing a service to your audience. All right? But let's talk about the fear of why nobody is buying, right? Because this is the part that we don't always say out loud. What if I make it and nobody buys it? Is that possible? Yes, that's possible. And I don't say that to scare you. I say that because I don't want you attaching your worth to one product. If something doesn't work or if it doesn't sell, then we look at the why it's not selling. Okay. Why does no one want it? What is that product? What is the problem? Was it the audience? Was it the messaging? Was it the price? Did enough people even see it? Did they understand why they needed it? And let me tell you something, a product that doesn't sell isn't a bad product all the time. Sometimes it's just the information, but your business is going to give you that feedback and you need to start using it. If you're not using it, you're doing yourself a disservice. And no, you don't need 500,000 followers. Okay. Another thing is that people complain about is that I don't have a big audience. Okay. Right. So I'd rather you have 300 of the right people than 30,000 people who have no idea why they follow you. Because followers aren't customers. Views are not customers and likes are not customers. You don't need everybody. You need the right somebody. That's your positioning. Now, let's go ahead and do the math, okay? And I'm not a math genius, all right? I don't even like math, but let's do the math, okay? Because digital products sound like this huge internet business thing until we actually put numbers on it, okay? And if there's somebody out there who could do the math for me, that's probably going to be easier, but I do have my phone right here to go ahead and do the math too. Okay. And it's not even big, but like I said, I'm not the math person. So if there's somebody out there who can do the math for me, that would even be better. But let's say you have a $7 product, okay? So a $7 product and you make 20 sales, right? $140. All right. But if you make a $27 product, right? And let's say you get 20 sales, that's $540, right? So if you have a $47 product with 20 sales, that's now $940. Okay. Now, does that mean that you're guaranteed to make those sales? Absolutely not. All right. We're not over here doing that, okay? We're not saying that. But what I want you to see is that you don't necessarily need thousands of buyers for a digital product to generate revenue. All right? You need an offer that people understand in front of people who actually have the problem that it solves. All right? And here's what it actually looks like in my own business, okay? Because I'm an example of this, what I'm telling you, all right? And I can actually show you what I mean because I'm doing this myself. Now, I created Get Paid with AI, right? But I didn't wake up one morning and say, you know what the internet needs? Another ebook. Okay? I didn't say that. I kept seeing a problem. People are learning ChatGPT, they're creating AI images, they're learning prompts, they're building AI twins, they're watching tutorials, but eventually they hit this wall, right? And they say, okay, I learned some AI. How do I actually turn this into something that I can generate income with? And that was the problem. All right. Get Paid with AI became one solution, and it's $7. Inside, I'm actually helping you start to look through my paid framework. Okay. So that's P, position yourself. A, apply AI. I, implement income systems. D, dominate your destiny. Okay. And this ebook isn't promising you that, you're going to read $7 worth of pages and wake up rich tomorrow. Okay. But what it's designed to do is that it's designed to help you stop randomly learning AI and start thinking about what you're actually building. And then there's a next level. All right. Now, some of you don't just want to read something, you actually want to me to teach you something, right? You want to sit down with me and you want to go deeper. So, this Sunday, August 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm actually hosting a live masterclass, and the masterclass is $27. So this is for the person who's saying, okay, Felicia, like, I don't just want another piece of content to save. I want to sit down and I want to learn. And I want to understand how to put this all together. And that's what we're going to do on Sunday. Okay. So, I want you to tell me where you are right now in this very moment. I want you to put a 1 if you're still figuring out what you could sell. I want you to put a 2 if you have an idea, but you haven't created it yet. And I want you to put a 3 if you created a product, but you're still struggling to sell it. And then go ahead and put a 4 if you're selling a digital products already and you're ready to grow. Okay. And this is so that I can see where everyone is. All right. All right. So now what I want you to do is I want you to really look at the comments that people have, right? Some of you are dealing with I don't know enough, right? That's what's inside of you. And then some of you are like, but I don't have the tools, the audience, the time, the money, the computer, right? That's what's happening on the outside. And then some of you are like, I don't know what to sell. I don't know how to price it. I don't know if anybody wants it. I don't know how to get people to buy it, right? That's your logical part. This is why business isn't just ask ChatGPT to make me an ebook, right? We're dealing with the person behind the business too. Your confidence, your circumstances, and your strategy. Now, AI can speed up the work, but it cannot make the decisions for you. And that's the part that I want you to understand. So, look, I am going to give you homework. I know that for some of you, school hasn't started yet. Some of you, school has already started. So, I'm going to give you homework. All right. And you're not allowed to go and make your product yet. Do not make your products yet. Now, take out a piece of paper, and what I want you to put at the top, I want you to put one person in all caps. All right. That's going to be who am I helping? And then underneath that, put one problem in all caps. What are they struggling with? And then underneath that, in all caps, put one result. What do they want instead? And then I want you to ask yourself this: what do I already know that I could help them to move from that problem toward the result? Okay, so I'm gonna ask that again. So what do I already know that can help them move from that problem toward that result? Now, after you've asked that, right, then we can talk about whether it should be an ebook, a template, a workshop, a checklist, a mini course, or a guide, or if it should be something else altogether. So the problem needs to come before the product. The person needs to come before the platform, and the purpose needs to come before pretty. Write that down. Problem before product, person before platform, person before petty. Okay? Now, look, if today's live made you realize I've been starting with AI when I need to start with direction, I've got 2 ways that you can keep going with me. Okay? Sorry. Now, if you want an affordable first step, I want you to grab my Get Paid with AI ebook. Okay? It's just $7. I want you to start there. All right. I want you to work through that framework, start figuring out what you're actually building. And if you're ready to sit down and go deeper, come to my live masterclass this Sunday, August 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's $27. I want you to choose the level of support that you need right now. And you don't need to buy everything. You just need to take your next step. All right. And before you leave, I want to ask you one final thing, right? And I want you to answer this. All right. What is the one problem that you think you could solve right now? Like if somebody had a question from you right now, what is that one thing that you could literally solve? Not the product, but the problem. All right. And I want you to put that in the comments. And look, what I want you to remember, if you don't remember anything else about the live today, is that people don't buy digital products because they're digital. They buy because they want what's on the other side of that problem. And that's where I want you all to start. All right. And I hope that with that being said, that you have a fantastic day. All of the links that you need, the ebook link and the masterclass link are all in the description, or you can grab them in the link in my bios. Okay. And I hope that you all have a fantastic rest of your day.